Welcome to Keep What You Earn, your judgment and jargon-free zone for entrepreneurs of all levels. Get ready to learn how to scale your business, save money in taxes, and create a business that grows your wealth. If it feels like the financial side of business is like eating your vegetables, well, then think of this podcast as the ranch dressing to make the process a little more enjoyable. My name is Shannon Weinstein. I'm a CPA and business owner on a mission to simplify money and empower others through knowledge. I hope this episode inspires you to take action, but remember that the information we share is for educational purposes only and is not individual tax advice. Now that we got that out of the way, let's start the show. I use this metaphor a lot when I'm describing financial professionals and their roles, and I think it's a really appropriate metaphor, or call it an analogy, where I talk about how a tax professional is really more of a publisher, right? Versus somebody who can help you author the story throughout the year. A publisher is simply clicking print and they're simply filing your taxes, let's say, based on the information you give them. They're not changing the numbers on you, they're not changing the outcome of the story. They're just simply hitting publish. Now, your tax preparer may also take on the role of bookkeeper, which is that author. The bookkeeper is the one actually writing out the story and typing it, or as I like to call them, the ghostwriter, because they're not really coming up with the whole story on their own. They're simply dictating what the storyteller is telling them. And so I want to extend this metaphor a little bit further because I think it's really important to understand these roles in your business, because I think that a lot of business owners overestimate how far these people extend in your business, and they over rely on each one individually to do more than their role. And this is a point of issue for accountants and professionals alike, because a lot of clients have ridiculously high expectations of what we do. And that's because they're not well educated on what we do. Shame on us. Shame on us for not educating. But also because this isn't really explained ever. So it's not their fault. So that's one thing, is a lot of people don't understand this black box of like, I need to hire someone in finance. What does that mean? And I've talked about this before on the podcast, but what I want to do is just really drive this metaphor home and have you understand the parallels here. So, as I've mentioned, the bookkeeper is really the author slash ghostwriter. They're the ones who are taking the transactions and entering them into a log and typing it all out like a book, right? Typing out the books, there you go, for the year, and telling the story of how your money spent the year, but using information that they don't have control over. So they're not making up transactions. They're just putting everything in the proper order, almost like an editor. Actually, they're a really good editor in a way, author slash editor. The tax pro, like I've mentioned, is the publisher. This is the person who is hitting print and distributing. That is it. You don't expect your publisher to change the ending of your story. But a lot of you are expecting your tax pro to change the ending of your business for the year after it's already closed, after things have gone to print, after the manuscript's been approved, you know? So you have to be careful with that. The other thing is we hire a lot of consultants in business and advisors and strategists and so on. And unless they are actually stepping in like a fractional role or an employee role, unless they're actually part of your team, what we're really looking at here is the consultant as the critic. The consultant is the one reading the book, looking at the story, saying, I don't like that ending, you should change it. But they don't change it. So I like this running joke with consultants. They find problems, send you a list of them, and then walk away. It's lovely. I used to do it for a living. I can speak firsthand about this. My whole job was PowerPoints telling you, you should increase your revenue and lower your expenses. Here's my bill, right? Like, you should do this. And then not actually helping people with the how behind it. So I would call them the critic. And so who's the storyteller? Who's the person who actually dictates how the story ends? Who's the person in the best control to ensure a happy ending? I have some bad news for you, because it's you. It's the business owner. Now, you can have people help you. You can have people advise you on how to craft a happy ending. You can also, get people involved, do character studies, so to speak. You could research, you could educate yourself on how to write an excellent novel. And you can also get people to help you that are experts in this who have done it before. But at the end of the day, No one cares about your business as much as you do. No one cares about your story as much as you do. So at the end of the day, the only person whose opinion matters is yours. And the only person who is truly, truly accountable to the results of your business, other than maybe shareholders, there's a little asterisk there, but truly accountable is you, any owner, right? You as the business owner. Hey, real quick, are you learning anything in this episode that you think is share worthy? Well, if you could take a quick screenshot and share any of your biggest takeaways or quotes from this episode, post it to Instagram and make sure to tag me at Shannon K. Weinstein and at Keep What You Earn. Thank you so much for listening to the show. Let's dive back in. The issue is that a lot of business owners hire authors, editors, publishers, but without a good story, without clear character development, characters, interactions, clear setting, clear research, that book is probably going to tank because you can't just have people who are good at hitting print or are good at formatting things. If you don't have good content, good creative, it's very similar to social media or any sort of media where there's a creative element. Hear me out. You don't blame the video editor. You don't blame the microphone company. You don't blame, the hotel where they're recording if the videos suck, depending on what they're doing. You look at the creative. If you have a person who's being videotaped for YouTube, right? And they're just not good on camera. They can't articulate what they're trying to say. They say ums and ahs and all the time, which I do sometimes. But if you are not really great at doing that, and then the videos don't perform, I'm not saying you have no one else to blame and you need to go wallow. No, absolutely not. What I'm saying is, though, that you need to take ownership of that and you need to get the proper help with that if you want it to be better. And what you don't do is you don't go to the video editor and go, guys, like this video sucked. And I said, all the time. And, I'm going to blame the camera for that. It's like, no, it has one job and that's to film you. Like, it's not its fault. It's kind of how tax pros feel when you blame them for the outcome of your return sometimes, because their job is simply to publish most of the time. Of course, there's a little exception here, unless they're actually selling you tax strategy, tax planning, and so on. But most of the time, you're just having them hit print. And I think that we overestimate what people are doing. We don't hire the right people for what we actually need. We underutilize this. We think, oh, I hire someone with a CPA on their name. They can do all of this stuff. Not necessarily true. And I think that we miss the mark on a lot of opportunities to tell a better story and to really get clear about what our numbers are saying the story of our business is this year, because we don't have anybody really invested in helping us tell the story. We just have the surface level editors, authors, and publishers. That's where I think the CFO comes in. So that's where actually I think that if you're not the storyteller, then you have the expert storyteller by your side saying, hey, we have to change the outcome of the story. It's not looking good right now. And to prompt you on what you should be doing so that you can ensure an outcome that you're pleased with. So that's kind of my best metaphor I have for what it's like to hire people in your business who are in the financial area, but also how to really look at your business as financial storytelling. Because if you can understand that through the literal books, reason why they're called books, if you can understand that through the books, then like you're super powerful. You're super powerful as a business owner. That's what I want for you. So just keep this in mind as you move through your business, just what role these people really are playing for you, if they're the right people in the roles, but also if you've set proper expectations with what they're going to be accomplishing for you. Because I think you'll be surprised at what gaps might be there. So when it comes to tax strategy, my philosophy is that I would rather you master your tax plan than implement some crazy strategies you're learning off of TikTok and Instagram. And that's why we use power sessions to dedicate some time with you to create a pro forma tax return. This enables you to predict your tax outcome, to take the surprise out of that surprise tax bill, and to enable you to use your resources better instead of overpaying Uncle Sam. If you're interested in learning more, check the link in the show notes to learn more about our power sessions.